Good morning and welcome to another great edition of Money Truth Moments with our very own Money Truth expert and whisperer, Judy Copenbarger. How are you?
Hi, Carlos. I am absolutely well. I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I love my Tuesday mornings, right? Because you get to start with a good cup of coffee and we get to have some great discussions and you get to share your wisdom. So, what better way to start my Tuesday, right?
It's the best. I love it. I love it. Let's go.
All right, folks, thank you for joining us today. If you're not following Judy, please do so at judycopenbarger.today. We have a wealth of resources and all of our social media links are there. So we are wrapping up today our summer series. It's really technically we're over summer, but we're going to wrap this up on today's episode, going from vacation mode to spending mode, right? And we want to be very careful with that. So you guys need to pay attention to what we're going to talk about today. So what do you say we get started, Judy?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right, right out of the gate, why do so many people find it hard to get back on track financially after summer? And we talked about this before in different episodes as well, but remind folks, why is that so hard?
Oh, we've been on vacation. We're sleeping in. We're staying up late, indulging in those movies and those series, binges. Um, we're eating stuff we don't normally eat. We're visiting with friends. We're out at the beach, all that stuff. So la 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 la. We're not in our routine. So pretty easy to get off track. And sometimes don't we want to stay there? Don't we want to stay
Yeah.
on vacation? For sure.
Yeah, and actually speaking of that, I'm gonna take it as sideways a little bit. What's the last series you remember that you binge watched? I know you don't have time, but I'm just curious.
Oh, I don't do that. Years and years ago, I stumbled well, the whole family, we stumbled across Lost. So that dates it, right?
Okay.
That's 10, 12 years ago, maybe longer. And we watched that whole thing. And that's probably the one and only series I've ever done that with. It's like it was riveting. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I know the kids do that. Once in a while, I'll pop in, while they're watching an episode of something that they're watching the whole thing of. But yeah, I really don't sit and watch like people do. I don't go to the movies all the time like people do. So I guess I'm culturally, when it comes to the arts, if you call that art, I'm really not up on all that. Movie stars and all that stuff. I'm really not really into that. How about you? What's the last one you watched and really could recommend?
I am gonna confess there's one series that's called Money Heist, right? And it's actually in Spanish. It's filmed in Spain, but you can actually listen to it with the English dialogue. I speak Spanish, so for me, I want to get the full content of what they're
Mhm.
saying. The gist of it is it's cops and robbers, right? But in the way they made this series, we've watched so many shows with the good guys, the bad guys, and so forth. But the way they handle this on this series was basically for you're rooting for the bad guys, basically the robbers.
Ah,
But the way the series goes is, most of the time you kind of know what's coming. With this series, it's like you don't. I mean, you don't know what to expect, and that's the beauty of it. I've never seen anything like that. So it's one of those that I would highly recommend if you guys are bingers, but you will get hooked one way or another for sure. So
and those are the best. Like movies that I like are ones, over the years are the ones that I couldn't see that coming at the end. Usually it's like,
mhm.
okay, there's like this whole little template. This is going to happen. And then the antagonist and the whole, blah, blah, blah. I like the ones where at the end it's like, really? And
Right.
there's been a few like that. It's like, wow, I did not see that, or it's open ended. That's kind of fun.
Mhm.
But that's good. Well, that
So
sounds really cool. So it
it,
kind of
it
sounds like
is
a lot of our politicians actually rooting for the bad guys.
right.
I'm rooting
Yeah,
for the
and there's a
criminals.
little bit of that in there for sure. That's for sure. So
Awesome.
highly recommend it for you guys.
Nice.
So
Nice diversion.
speaking of money though, so tell us, let me ask you, like, what are some common money habits that show up when people are in vacation mode, basically? Like you don't
Well,
really think about.
I think good habits go away and bad habits come in, when we're in that. We don't have to worry about it right now. We'll pay it off later, all that stuff. It's just easy to kind of get off track when you're on vacation in a lot of ways. We eat differently, we spend differently, our schedule is off, all of that. So now it's kind of the time back to school. If you've got kids that are in school, or if you're in school, back to school and back in the routine, back into let's, finish the year out strong and all of that. It's time to kind of reel it in and really
Mhm.
finish well by the end of the year. And there's still time to do that.
And that's the other thing too. Now we're transitioning into kind of like the holidays, things that are coming up. And why is early fall like so important when to reset financially? I guess is my question.
Yeah, and I think, we touched on that just a little bit, but there's still time to course correct. So there's still time before the end of the fiscal year, is the calendar year for most people, and for tax returns, for most people. So um, it's a good time to kind of reevaluate, where are we for the year? Have we saved as much as we want? There's still time to do that. Have we invested enough contributions in our 401ks, our IRAs, things like that? Are we planning to maximize those? What more can we do for the long-term planning this year? Are there things that we can expend, or things that we can put together, legal documents, for example, or corporations, LLCs? Are there tax planning things that we could do? Are there gifting things that we could do still before the end of the year while there's time? Is there a structure we need to put in place, or some tax planning? There's still time to put together documents if you need to, and definitely time to move money around if it benefits you tax-wise or for future savings. So just do it while there's time. And this is a great time of year to put that in place.
Yeah, I think the other piece of that is also you've talked about the G word, which is guilt, right? There's guilt into just about everything financially that we do or we don't do. So how can our listeners, right, identify where they overspent without feeling guilty? And that's kind of hard to put that in one sentence, but how would you suggest they do that?
Well, you still have time to course correct. And so if you've overspent, let's say you went 4,000 over your budget over the summer or something like that, there's still time to belt tighten, reel it in a little bit where you can in those flexible expenses. You have fixed and flexible expenses every month in your spending plan, not budget, the B word, but spending plan. And so you can take those flexible expenses, the ones that you have, it could be big or little, make them little just for a short time, maybe through the end of September, or maybe through the middle of October, and just kind of like put yourself on a financial diet, get that savings back up, get that reserve back up, maybe put money toward those credit card bills that ended up being a little higher than you thought they'd be this time of year, and just belt tighten for a little time, and then be ready to be flexible for the holidays. And even if you didn't overspend, if you want to go into the holidays with cash rather than credit cards, right? So you don't have to end up with that January, cloud.
Right.
A lot of people have, after the holidays are over, they have that little gloom feeling. Some people, it's financial, for reasons that maybe we can avoid. So what if you put extra money towards savings for the holidays and do everything cash this year? There's still time to put that together. So it's a great time of year to just think about these things, belt tighten if you need to, catch up. And if you have that G word, if you have the guilt, the shame, I really have blown it this year. Well, we might as well just eat the pie and the cupcakes, right? You know how it is. It's like, oh, well, we've already blown it. You can always just choose. We made a mistake. We're not where we want to be. This is how we can get there, and just turn it. You choose chocolate or vanilla. It's just a simple choice. We're not going to do that. We are going to do this. And I think you just mentioned it. You said something about things to do and things to not do. Sometimes more important is the things that we choose not to do, or to stop doing. That's important financially and in lots of areas of life. But just if that's what you've been doing, this is what we always do, just don't, right? Just don't do that. Stop it, right? So many options. I just encourage you guys, if you're coming from that shame or guilt or upset or blame, when there's two of you, I didn't do it, you did it, or you didn't do it. Just let that go, start fresh, and there's still time to course correct and finish really, really well this year.
I think we're going to have to start our own little saying and do the opposite of Nike. Instead of just do it, don't do it.
Just don't do it. Oh, you know what? Maybe I'll make that bumper sticker.
There we go.
It's a tattoo or a bumper sticker, right?
Exactly, right?
Don't do that. Stop it.
So we talk about also mindset, right? And it's easy, like when you're in the summertime, you're carefree. You do what you want to do. It's almost like I always think that from adult, you go back to a kid and just trying to, summer's about fun or whatever, but then reality sits in. Trying to switch that mindset. It's like, okay, fun's over. I got to adult again and kind of move forward. So what I want to ask you is, and this is really related to couples, right? Because we talk about a lot about couples, but how can couples and families really work together to make this transition smoother without hitting you like, oops, it's over, you know?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think it's working together. And, I don't see families do this as much as I'd like. To have a family crest, to have a family mission, to have a family plan, to have family meetings and talk about how do we want our schedule to go? How do we want our roles to go? How do we want our finances to go? Well, what an opportunity for your kids to have family meetings. And it's like we're a team, we're rowing together, we all have the same outcome, the goals, that we want to achieve as a family. Let's do it together. What ideas do you kids have, right? I'd like to see families do that more. You totally can. It's a mindset thing, but a great opportunity to train young people to take responsibility. And when they're ready to be adults, to be adulting and really understand that they have choices. They have power. They're empowered in these areas of life and they can choose the outcome, right? It just takes a little time and then a little bit of course correction along the way, plan of action, implement your plan. Here are the things we're going to do. You check in once in a while and how are we doing? Here are the goals and the activities that we need to do to achieve those goals. How are we doing? We were going to save 400. We only saved 200. What can we do to save the extra 200 next month and be successful? It's just, we learn that in school. We learn that in sports. We learn that in scouts, these other places where there's a goal and an outcome and we're working toward that goal. Why don't we do it as a family with just regular daily skills? I'd love to see more of that. Maybe I'll make a motion that our country starts doing that or gets back to doing that, right? Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just working together. There's nothing like families that work together. You see it culturally. Some cultures, some ethnic groups, they do everything together. They pull their money, they buy real estate together, they go into
right.
business. The kids are working in the donut shop, all that stuff. They're coming up, learning how to run the lawnmowers and learning how to whatever the skills are. They do it together as a family, and they're very successful. So we could take some notes from families and cultures that do that really well and just pull together, work as a family and get those kids right on board from little, right? And
Yeah.
show them, things that work, share things that don't work with them. Here's where I failed, here's where I didn't do so good. That outcome was not what we wanted. What could we do more, better, different? All those things. So include the kids, get the family, pull together. I mean, there's no better way. Love to see more of that.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. I would love to just be a fly on the wall and how these families just they work so well as a unit versus like what you normally see that that old saying, you don't bring family into business or you don't lend family money because it's always some hassle or whatever on there. But it'd be great to just capture that philosophy. Like how do you guys stay together for sure? That's great.
Hmm. Yep. Yep.
Folks, if you're just joining us, you are missing out on a great episode because we are talking about moving forward. This is our last episode for the summer, and we are really transitioning into what's coming up the rest of the year. We've definitely talked about some great stuff, going from vacation mode to spending mode. So make sure that you watch the beginning of the show and share it also with folks as well too. Um, so let me ask you, we've talked, you've given us some great insight on things. Let's talk to that one person who's lost, right? Like what are the first steps someone should really take to reset their financial planning after the summertime?
Well, there's soft skills and hard skills. I just, again, like every area of life, but we'll focus on the finances here. The soft skills is the mindset, the values, the attitudes, the feelings we have about money, the stuff we learned as a little kid and don't even know that that's our value set around finances. So the first thing is to just look at, why do I make the same mistake over and again? Why am I spinning? I've been here before. I've been here before. I've been in debt before. I didn't save what I was going to save before. I surprised myself again, not in a good way. Like, why do I
Mhm.
keep doing that? Well, there's some attitudes, there's some program running in the back of your mind about something you learned or some experience you had or some pain that you had that is just kind of causing that repeat to happen. So the first thing is to get a hold of those things, if you have conflict in your marriage or in your family about money, where does that come from? Is it attitudes that are conflicting? Is it values that, I have? Hopefully you didn't grow up in the same household as your spouse. Unlikely that you did, right? That would be, a whole other show.
Another show for sure.
But that means you don't have exactly the same ideas about money, right? Because you heard things and experienced things at your house. He or she experienced things at his or her house. So, and they're not going to be the same. So aligning that sometimes is where conflict can come from. And that's okay. So work it through. It's like, here's how I feel. Well, here's how I feel. Well, I think we should have 2,000 saved every month. No, I think we should have 20,000 saved every month. And there's a conflict. Why are you keep spending that? We should have it there. No, it's enough, right? And so unless you kind of dig down under, pull back a couple of layers, you're not going to know that where the conflict comes from. How are you going to fix it if you don't get there? The first thing is to want to do it. Get everybody on the same page. Do we want to really do more, better, different? Do we really want to make changes and improve and get a better outcome together? Are we ready to fix it? So the first thing is to want to do that, to take a look at how you got here. Where do we want to go next? That's goal setting. A lot of people don't know how to create proper goals. And we've got several episodes that cover that. A proper goal has 4 parts. What does that look like? So you want to do that. That's the soft side. That's like, okay, now we are ready for a plan. And then the hard skills is the technical part. How much should we save? What kind of savings should we have? When we have enough to invest, what kind of investments are right? So you don't end up being overtaxed or spending more on fees than you should or getting ripped off on commissions, all that stuff happening. You have good intent now, but now you don't have the right team. So you want to get the right team. Have a good accountant, unless you are one, or married to one. Have a good financial advisor. Have a good estate planning attorney. You want to have people, insurance people. You want to make sure that they're the right kind of people that are a good fit for your family. And we've got episodes on how to pick your team, how to build your bench, and how to do head, heart, hands, how to pick people that will serve you well and be that right fit for sustainability. So every 2 or 3 years, you're not picking another accountant or picking another attorney or another, you're going from insurance agency to an insurance agency all over the place. So how to pick your team, get them around you. That's part of the hard skills, doing the right things that will thrust you forward where you want to go financially. Soft skills, hard skills, you got to have both. So get it together, get a plan, implement the plan with the right people, and you'll get there.
I zoned in on your word. Get it together, folks, and you've heard it, right? So
get it together.
Let's make sure you, like I said, are sharing this with other folks as well. And it kind of leads us to, the tail end of our show, and you know what that means. All right, let's stay on the get it together, don't do it theme. What do you got for us for this challenge?
Yeah, stop it. Yeah, stop all the stupid stuff. It's not going to help you get your goals. Yeah, so there's time now. We've got a couple of months, a number of weeks before the end of the year. 2 things that I'd love for you to consider as a challenge. The first thing is, what's the one thing on the soft side that we could do financially to propel us forward to where we want to go? Is it having a meeting, having a conversation, making a list of, how I got here, what I think about money and failures that I perceive, shame, guilt, what am I upset about? What have I not done well? Write it down, look at it, right? So whatever it is you need to do, a conversation, a list, whatever that is, the soft side, one thing, don't overwhelm yourself, but do one thing that will move you forward. The other thing is do one thing on the hard skill side. Think about the accountant you need or the insurance people that you need to talk to, HR at work. What benefits do I have that I'm not taking advantage of? Is there a 401k or a retirement program I could be involved in? Should I be buying company stock where I work, right? Maybe I need to find a financial advisor to help me look at what I have and pull all that together and optimize the planning that I have. And a lot of times we go through life and we collect things as we go. In our 20s, we did this. In 30s, somebody said do that. In our 40s, the employer said do that. So we end up with 12 or 15 things, accounts and, stuff from old jobs and stuff. And it's not a consolidated, efficient, tax efficient and cost efficient plan. So of all those things, pick one thing that you could do to be more efficient and get those technical skills together. Hire somebody, talk to somebody, move forward that way. So do one thing on the soft side, one thing on the hard side, and you will make a lot of progress.
That's huge, folks. And if you are listening, please, if you have any questions, let us know. We would love to address it. And also any other themes or questions that you may have that you want Judy to cover on the show, please do so. And by the way, too, make sure that you're also following her on judycopenbarger.today, where you get the latest resources. A lot of these live episodes as well, too, are on there, and more great wealth of knowledge. So any last parting words, Judy?
A third part to your challenge: stop doing the stupid stuff. And you know what those things are. Just stop doing that. Stop it. And make it a great
That's
week.
gonna be a great shirt for sure, for the next time. All right, folks, take care. Have a fantastic week. Remember, we are here every Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. with the replays on Thursdays at 8 p.m. And so until next week, take care and be safe.